Avoidance is a sign of attachment. The feeling you're avoiding is the very thing keeping it alive. We hide, we run, we try to do our very best to avoid it. But that is because there's an attachment there. No one likes emotional pain, the feeling of emotional, what we call emotional pain. So we avoid it. But when I look at my own patterns, the same relationships, the same friendships, the same choices, I see something. If I let go of something, I find something else to hold on to. If I run away from this situation, trying to avoid it, I find something else to run to because something is me is attached to a feeling, something that I identify with strongly. And the reason why I know this is because it's always something similar that I run from and run to. The attachment keeps producing the same problems, the same stress. Because the feeling, that feeling that we're running from underneath it was never faced. So the fear is actually feeding the attachment through avoidance. The avoidance is the fear. Escaping a feeling becomes another way another way attachment shows up. We're so conditioned to brace against what we feel. I don't know if you can relate to that. We're so conditioned to brace against what we feel, especially because we identify the feeling so fast. We never try to look at it or observe what we're feeling. And so we brace against it, and over time that builds. The very thing we avoid out of fear becomes the the loop, the cycle that we find ourselves in. Because we avoid because of fear, but we become attached to the chaos it creates. We think avoiding gives us control, but we keep calling it back into our lives because the feeling we avoid is still there. I wonder if, is this too much? Just from observing, just from observing my own feelings. When an inner shift begins, we start to look inward, right? We want to, it's more self-discovery. And instead of running, instead of avoiding, we begin to face it, face the feeling or the feelings. There is an urge to understand ourselves more deeply. So we're no longer running away from what we're feeling. The personality or the person that always avoids, that's the personality that was created to deal with our fears. It's the identity we formed to not feel that hurt that we once experienced. There's a there's a period in my life I remember where I found myself always choosing. There was a pattern because I always chose situations that I knew were not long term because I was afraid of getting hurt. So I would, from that hurt, I would, now that I look back, I was choosing situations that weren't available, fully available to me, only because I wanted that way out, if that makes sense. I, I thought that by being able to just run or detach myself from it immediately, I would not feel the hurt, but that wasn't true. That wasn't true. The created self will always betray us. It's the identity, that created self, we form to protect ourselves. That the version of us that is shaped from being hurt, from being betrayed, from trying not to feel that pain again, that the last situation put you through. So we create a personality that knows how to avoid, how to hide, how to stay in control. But that self is built on fear. That is not our true self. That self is created from fear and it keeps running, it keeps avoiding. Avoidance is not protection. Avoidance is a prison, a cage you build. It feels like you build this cage around you, and that identity that is created lives in that cage. And that is not your truest self. So that cage we create through this personality becomes a prison. And it's all driven through this attachment. Attachment is in the background of all of that. Attachment is in the background of avoidance. That's why personalities change. They change to manage our current reality. And the personality is cannot be the true being. It cannot be. It's fluctuating. It's changing. What we're really avoiding is the emptiness of our natural being. And when I say emptiness, it's the silence of our natural being. And as you come to discover your true self more, you'll recognize this silence. At first, when you don't, as you're healing and you're going inward, you won't recognize it. It feels, it even feel unnatural. Can I say that to you? It feels unnatural. So we try to feel it. with pleasure, with distractions, with attachments. These states, these things, the distraction, the attachment, the trying to fill that space, that only keeps us running. And if you look deeper, it creates patterns and habits are formed. So the only way from where I'm looking from right now is to end attachment, is to face it. To face it, because avoidance strengthens it. It strengthens the attachment. We have to face the loneliness. We have to face the fear, whatever that fear is. You know it because that's why you're avoiding it. So you know what that fear is. I didn't want to be rejected or hurt, so I put myself in a situation where I knew I could easily escape it to keep myself from getting hurt. So we have to face these feelings. And if something is felt, I'm learning more and more not to be quick to label it and don't run from it because it's almost like a response. You respond by quickly labeling it or quickly running away. But we have to face it. You face it by observing it. Be present with it. Don't try to change what you're feeling. That's what starts the habits and the patterns because we're trying to change what we're feeling. It is uncomfortable. It is painful. Because you're facing the pain, you're going to feel the sensation of it. But pain is a door, a doorway. Once we can observe and face and be present with what we're feeling, it gives us the understanding to heal instead of avoid. Strangely, at one point, I thought I was completely healed from a certain feeling that I was trying to avoid. But if the feeling of hurt is driving your actions continuously, then I said to myself, you're still attached. You're still attached. You're still avoiding the pain, meaning that you're still attached. Feelings they're not factual, and I want to be careful here because just, I feel like just hearing me say feelings are not factual, something is quick to respond to that. But it's not factual because they fluctuate. One moment we're feeling, there's a sensation there of maybe not feeling happy. And then the next moment, there's a sensation of something else. Throughout the day, if you observe your feeling, you'll realize that it's fluctuating. It's going all over the place. Now, how can that be you? Who you are is the one that sees the fluctuation, isn't it? You're the one observing. You're not the feeling. And so that's why I say feelings aren't factual. They come in a moment, something might have happened, and those feelings arise, but they're really not who we are. One moment they're here, the next moment they're gone. When you observe them, you're able to awaken to them instead of being overwhelmed or controlled by them. That's the recognition. Escaping our feelings keep us trapped in the created identity, the strong one, the perfect one, because we're afraid of feeling something, we're avoiding. And that created identity fills that space. When I feel strong sensations, emotions moving through me, I know sometimes immediately your response is to resist and to get away from it. But I find that being with them creates a space for awareness to arise from them. This way we don't get attached by running from a feeling. It doesn't drive us into attaching to something else because we're trying to escape that feeling. So we run to another feeling, and when that, or run to another attachment, and when that fails, you begin avoiding again instead of facing it, and it becomes this cycle. And you're saying to yourself, why am I always in this situation? It's a different people in the situation, but it's the same situation that keeps cycling. And then the feeling returns. And that's the cycle, that's the loop. The feeling you avoid is actually what is keeping it alive. It's that feeling you're avoiding, it's a feeling that's still there, hidden underneath all of the personality you've created to hide from it, to avoid the feeling. Nothing, nothing in your awakening, nothing has the power to hold us unless in some way there is still that attachment to it. And with that attachment and even trying to avoid it, we're actually giving away our power. But when we face it, there's an awareness that arises so we can see it and understand those actions. And this brings freedom and liberation. Thank you for listening. Thank you.